Shalom, Kal Halal, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, Bahasham Rahakak Wadash, and just here with another lesson, and really just showing how there's no new thing under the sun. The Spirit led me to research a few words that has to do with money and currency, and come to find out, well, we already knew this, but the U.S. is without a shadow of a doubt 1,000% Rome revised again in this modern day time period. So come to find out, the main currency and during the time period of the Romans, the ancient Romans was the denarius, and the denarius was made out of, I think they said 95% pure silver. So it was a tangible currency that was used back then in the ancient Roman days to purchase goods. One denarius could actually get you 10 asses, which would be 10 donkeys. So it was backed by something. You look at the word denarius. The word denarius even sounds like the word dinero, which means dollar. So you begin to ask yourself, and you begin to say to yourself, well, how did ancient Rome collapse? Well, ancient Rome collapsed first inwardly, meaning the economy started to go down. They were stretched too thin. They had wars. They were fighting all over the place. Sounds familiar, right? Sounds like the U.S. So over time, they had to devalue or debase their money. They started taking out more and more silver. And over time, people started realizing that the money was lighter. It was different. It was showcasing copper more than silver. And so people started to realize that the government was defrauding them, understand? And over time, the economy collapsed and the Roman citizens lost faith in the denarius. Now, if you fast forward all the way to these times in the United States, when you look at the dinero or the U.S. dollar, the scriptures tells us that the deadly wound was healed. The deadly wound described of in the book of Revelations on the seven-headed dragon, one of those heads was the old ancient Roman Empire. And what the so-called elites at the top did was they decided to revise the old Roman Empire, meaning they decided to bring back the old Roman ways and pretty much perfect it. So the U.S. is pretty much Rome again, but on steroids, meaning the old Roman army didn't have fighter jets. The old Roman army didn't have computers and technology and then laser beams and night vision and heat seeking, you understand? So this new revised Roman Empire is pretty much Rome again, but on steroids. It's souped up. But it's souped up so that the Lord Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shah, can magnify his name when he destroys this place. It's the same way the Roman soldiers used to patrol their areas on horseback. It's the same way how you see these police officers patrol on horsepower. Their cars have horsepower. Understand? The same way how you see brothers nowadays getting locked up and thrown in handcuffs was the same back then. No new thing under the sun. Yahweh Shah, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, was handcuffed and thrown into prison. So you see that this place is the revised version of the old Roman Empire, even down to this place's games. When you look at a football game, right? You look at the Coliseum, right? You look at the helmets they wear, the pads that they wear. Very, very reminiscent of the armor that the Roman soldiers used to wear, or the gladiators used to wear, right? What do they call football? The ultimate gladiator sport, right? Even down to this man's money. When you look at the denarius looks like a modern day quarter. The quarter looks like an old age denarius. But do you think that's by accident? No. This is the New Age Rome. New Age Rome, again, revised on steroids. Understand? Remember, when the Romans first invaded Egypt, when they went over into Egypt, when they ransacked through the pyramids and the graves of the pharaohs, they found statues and fake gods. And one of the gods they found was Horus. or the little peregrine falcon looking bird. But the Romans thought that that bird was an eagle. So that's where they got the eagle from, their logo, their emblem, the eagle. They thought that the Horus bird that they found in the pyramids of Egypt was an eagle, but it was actually a falcon, which leads directly into the verse from the prophet Obadiah, from the book of Obadiah 1 and 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord Yahweh. Let's read it again. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, meaning their space programs, NASA, their satellites, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord Yahweh. Now, in today's setting, these devils actually think that they can orchestrate the crash of their own dollar and ultimately force the entire earth into accepting the MOTB, which is the mark of the beast, the RFID, which would be in efforts by the so-called elites to essentially rule the entire planet Earth with a digital RFID microchip. Meaning this devil wants to put himself in the place of the Lord, where he can see and watch and monitor your every movement. Hence why this devil decided to revise the old Roman Empire and this new souped up Roman-like empire that's on steroids. He desires to use his control and his power on the earth to ultimately crash his own currency so that he could usher in and coin humanity as his own. Understand? You see with the word coin, and they coined the phrase. Remember, Germany's currency at one point used to be called the mark. You could look this up. And the Germans themselves represent one of the 7 heads on the Great Red Dragon, just as Rome, one and the same, Edomites, Edom meaning red. Understand? No such thing as white people. The background of this video is white. They are pink, which is the offshoot of red, Edomites. So the same way that the Lord plagued Egypt and plagued Rome, first with an economic collapse, is the same way how the Lord will once again plague modern day spiritual Egypt, Sodom, and Rome, which is the United States, from the inward parts, with a financial devastating collapse, which will affect the whole entire globe and will usher in the mark of the beast, MOTB, microchip. So that was a lesson for today. Until the next time, I want to say shalom, shalom.